Does edging mess with your ability to transmute your energy on retention? In this video, I'm going to be talking about what edging really is and then whether or not it actually interrupts our ability to transmute our energy so that we can get the benefits from retention. Before I do that, make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe to see more content like this. But let's get into it. Firstly, what is edging? Edging is a practice, right, of bringing yourself close to orgasming and then, right, keeping yourself there, right, and then letting it drop down and then bringing yourself back up, right, to that point where you're just about to release, bringing yourself to that edge, as as you will. So does that actually affect your ability to transmute your energy? Now, for me, I do believe it really does depend on where you are in your journey with this question. If, for example, you are very new to this and you've been addicted to corn and all of these things, right? It's just been a part of your daily practice, then going from that to edging, right, could be a great way for you to get over the overstimulation of watching corn, right? But eventually, and I would say relatively quickly, you'd want to get off the edging as well. Reason is because when you're cultivating, right, and you're transmuting the energy, you're resetting the dopamine system, right, so that you're gonna have motivation to actually get your life in order, deal with other things. But if you are always bringing yourself, right, to the edge, right, and it's not that you're doing it with a partner, especially if you're doing it just with yourself, right, then you're giving yourself these rewards. So sorting out certain things in your life, right, which this energy is used for when you're transmuting it to make more money, get better relationships, sort out your body, deal with your traumas, all of these things, right? You're not going to have the motivation to do that. For me, myself, right, because I've tested this out, because I've been practicing for years now, whenever I started to do like the edging thing, right? Because some people actually teach you to do this, right? There's books that say this is healthy for you to do. So whenever I tested it out, 9 out of 10 times, I would either end up relapsing or attracting someone, right, into my life that kind of causes me to relapse, because I believe that we do attract, right, things to us based on our vibration. And so if we're always bringing ourselves to that place where we're about to release, right, we're not transmuting this energy, tapping into our purpose, dealing with the fire, right, sitting with that fire of the desire. That is a part of the process when you're talking about transmutation. If you don't sit in the fire, right, a bit like if you're trying to forge a sword, first thing is that you have to get that iron and you have to put it in the fire so it gets soft. Then you can forge it into a sword. If you're always bringing that fire down to your lower center, right, not letting it travel upwards, right, there's going to be certain parts of you that it's the fire's just never going to reach, because you're always bringing yourself there. And it's just that temptation, because on this journey, it's not just retaining, right, for the sake of retaining. Yes, retaining in and of itself will bring benefits, but the real benefits you get from retention, the real superpowers you get from retention, is from refining the way that you live your life, right? Eventually, you might start eating less or eating cleaner. You might start working out harder. You might start things like cold showers, right? This is allowing you to stack good habits to become a better person. But if you're sitting there, right, and you're purposefully bringing yourself to the place near to orgasm, right, without there being any reward for you to do that. So, for example, having the ability to talk to a woman that you really like, right, the ability to woo her, get her to that place where you can build a proper, healthy relationship with this person, and then get to that space, right? Then, right, when you get near there, that dopamine is going to then tell you to do those actions. But if you're just there with your hand, bringing yourself there, that dopamine reward that you're going to get, because you are going to get a dopamine reward from edging, right? Because it's very pleasurable. It's telling you that you get that for doing this, basically, right? Which is not an action that's going to make your life any better. And I can't imagine, right, the sages, the people that spoke about retention and how to use this energy to better our lives, right? Could you imagine them sitting there, right, writing all of these deep books about astrology, stoicism, gnosticism, magic, and then being like, oh, yep, it's my day to go and fap, basically, to the point where I'm near, and then stopping? I doubt it. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just a ludicrous idea. So if, for example, you're just starting off and you're trying to get rid of your porn addiction, right? Yeah, it's definitely better, right, if you are edging than you're watching porn and releasing. 100%, right? But you don't want to be doing that for an extended period of time. Like, I would suggest not even trying to do that over like a month or two, right? The moment that you recognize that you don't need to corn, you want to then get off of that as well. And then you want to start using that energy to make your life better, right? Working harder, finding what your purpose is. This is the real reason for being on retention. It's not just for physical benefits, it's for mental and spiritual benefits as well. So that's my opinion on whether edging will change the way that you transmute your energy. My answer is yes, right? I don't think that we should be doing it. We should be trying to like bring this energy up, right? There are massages that you do, for example, for like your testicles and things like that, to make sure you don't get blue balls, right? But you're not sitting there trying to edge, right? That is just a completely different topic, and it's not beneficial, to be honest, especially not in the long term, because eventually if you keep doing that, you're gonna want to just release. Do you know what I mean? And rightly so. Why would you want to put yourself through such torture? Let's make this easy as it can be, because it's one of the hardest things that we can do as men. But if you've watched to this point, thank you. I appreciate you. Join my free WhatsApp group. And last but not least, my brothers, always remember that you are perfect by design. Peace.